Good afternoon, everyone. This is Rakesh Rao welcoming you for the IPF exclusive interview. And today we have with us Mr. Anbu, who is Director General and CEO of IMTMA, that is the Apex Organization for Indian Machine Tools Industry. Welcome, Mr. Anbu, for this exclusive interview. So let's begin with the buzz of the industry, that is the budget which was presented on Monday by our honorable finance minister. So what's your thoughts on the budgets, and also can you just elaborate on some of the hits and the misses of the budget?
No, I think it's a highly growth-oriented budget, and certainly focusing very strongly on both investment and the capacity creation, and also the next level of growth for many sectors, particularly from the capital goods and machine tools point of view. It's got a special focus on infrastructure, and government spending, is tremendous, and also especially on railways, national highway, and sectors like that. That would lead to further consumption in general in terms of capital goods, and also it will have a trickle-down effect on the machine tool industry as well. So it's very good for the overall economy, and also particularly for manufacturing. We're talking about Make in India, Atmanirbhar. I think for the first time I'm seeing a great focus, and also on innovation, design, and technology, all leading to probably new products and improved products. Okay, so I think this would set a course for adding depth in manufacturing, adding depth in many of the sectors, and that way taking many of the sectors to greater competitiveness. And perhaps not only you will see the effects in the domestic market, but also will have a long-term impact on exports. So I'm very happy on that account.
So any particular thing which you believe has been missed by the finance minister and which the industry was expecting?
I think if you look at it, I think people are generally happy. So I don't think anything particularly has been missed out in terms of overall economy, or in terms of manufacturing particularly.
So as we already have discussed that the year 2020 was a very rather you can say a washout year for many of the industries, and including the manufacturing sector due to COVID pandemic. Are you seeing the sector limping back to normalcy, and how soon can we expect to reach a pre-COVID levels of growth?
Okay, let me speak from the machine tool industry's own experience. Okay, so 2018-19 was the best year in terms of overall performance. Okay, that's a year we have seen machine tool production coming very close to about 10,000 crores. Okay, 9,600 crore. And a year later, for a variety of reasons, particularly also because the auto was having a moderate growth, we have seen almost 30-35% dip in the machine tool industry's performance. And when we were hoping that we would come back, that was the last year, the fourth quarter, and that's the time when COVID struck. I think it has actually put a big had an impact on the machine tool industry's performance. So 2019-20, if you look at the overall production was almost like 6,200 crores. Okay. The first quarter of the current financial year, because of lockdown and then all the lockdown related issues, the demand was absolutely down, and production was completely we had a shutdown. So it was like actually going very close to zero level, and then coming back once again, especially for all capital goods, was a big issue. So Q1 all together, I think we were down by almost I would say 70% compared to the previous year. Q2 while we had a reasonable comeback, it was again almost like minus 30%. Okay, so compared to the position, I think we are doing reasonably well now. In my view, I think we would reach the pre-COVID level the early part of next financial year. Okay, or I think it would be practically speaking middle of the calendar year 2021. So I'm quite hopeful. This is if you look at the pre-COVID year, I think to reach the same level of production, I think we would be reaching that level in the middle of the coming financial year.
Its government has already announced that they intend to increase the manufacturing sector's contribution to GDP from 16 to 17% at present to around 25%.
Yes.
And they have also announced, first it was Make in India in 2015, and during the COVID pandemic, they also announced Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme and initiative. So first, are you seeing the impact of this scheme on the ground? Obviously, we cannot speak much about Atmanirbhar Bharat because it was launched in a period where already demand was down. But definitely, Make in India has been there since 2015. So, are you seeing the impact of this critical kind of an initiative of the government on the ground?
See, Make in India is certainly very good initiative. I really support the objectives of that. But if you look at combination of Make in India and Atmanirbhar, I think we need to wait for some more time to see the actual traction and then to see the actual results on the ground. But if you look at any sector, they are very keen that not only the value addition, but actually the real, I would say, technology development and IP creation happening in the country. Okay, and the most sectors seem to be very, very confident about that. Okay, so these are all long-term things. You will see results in the medium to long term. Okay, more important thing here is giving confidence to people. Okay, that we could develop the best of products. Okay, compared to the developing countries, developing market in India. Okay, that means we are talking about adding more depth in our sector, especially in manufacturing sector. So I'm coming back to again the subjects of technology and innovation leading to new product development. So this would you will see the results of that in the coming years more and more. More important is from government point of view. I think in addition to this, there is a lot of scope for even enhancing this further, in the sense when we have new products, when you have new technologies coming into the market, we should allow that to get encouraged. For example, there are norms like prior supply conditions and things like that. We should not allow those kind of things to put cold water on these initiatives. I'm not saying that, okay, so anything developed new should be adopted, but then that should be certainly encouraged. Okay, so that would set a new culture in the industry in terms of developing something new in India. That's very, very important. I also see a lot of opportunities among sectors work with each other. Okay, a sector which is, let's say, take capital goods, any particular sector, and then their own user sectors. And many of the products needed for tomorrow could be developed together. You can co-create that. Okay, so you will see both Make in India and Atmanirbhar leading to these sort of fundamental shift. Okay, in our product development and technology development.
During this pandemic, as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat, government announced a PLI scheme, production incentive schemes for various sectors, around 10, 13 sectors now. Do you think even the machine tool industry should have been included in this? Because given the nature of the industry itself is considered to be the mother of all the manufacturing capital goods industry. They also need similar kind of incentive.
Certainly, there is a possibility, but the machine tool is not about volume. Okay, so machine tool is exclusive industry. It's a role that plays, which is very, very important. So it may not readily qualify for PLI, but then I can see definitely a scope for a support mechanism, either similar to PLI or phase manufacturing. Okay, could be leveraged to enhance machine tool industry, adding more value. Okay, and having greater production in the country. I can see the scope emerging gradually. You see many sectors like electronics and other sectors which are investing heavily, and we certainly have greater scope in India to produce those manufacturing technologies and solutions in the country itself to meet the needs of these emerging sectors, and they could certainly get benefited by these support schemes, and that would definitely give a big help for somebody to invest and create this in India, so that you don't have to import all this in the long run.
The reason why I asked is because at present also machine tool industry, lots of import dependence is there, and hence I wanted to know your views on this PLI, because this scheme is particularly addressed to bring in the manufacturing which is not happening in India. Hence I asked you this question. So moving to the next question, as you already know, there is automotive is the biggest user of machine tools. So which industries are driving the demand for machine tools at present, and are you also seeing new industries emerging, especially when you talk about government is also emphasizing on indigenization of defense sector. Do you also think along with auto, other sectors like defense also will be play a big role in the coming years for pushing the demand for machine tools in India?
So if you look at so far, auto has been almost like 50% of customer base for machine tools in the country. Okay, auto and auto component put together, they consume almost 50% of machine tools produced in the country. Going forward, I think a lot of other sectors would assume significant importance. Certainly, defense is one, but along with defense, you'll also see railways emerging as a major consumer as well. You'll also see electronics also becoming a consumer of manufacturing technology and select machine tools in the medium to long run. And you'll also see a lot of new sectors which may not consume like auto, but then they will play a significant role in the course of machine tools, including electronics and electrical and medical equipment, and also agriculture, equipment, and then implements and food processing equipment. Okay, so these are all, and also energy, sector would also consume more and more machine tools. But those traditional sectors would always be the larger volume players: auto, defense, and also construction equipment and capital goods, general engineering. They would continue to be the consumers of machine tools, but then a whole lot of new sectors would, ask for not only more and more machine tools, but also machine tools with added capabilities. Machine tools which can bring in, capabilities to handle, complex contours, to handle higher level accuracies, etc. Okay, and of course, you will also have Industry 4.0 playing a crucial role along with the machine tools.
Okay, so has there been any? Are you seeing any change in terms of demand pattern for machine tools in the post-COVID era compared to say pre-COVID era?
Yeah, post-COVID era is just emerging. Okay, so we will still not come to that one, but I can see the trend in the last couple of months. As I was, making my comments earlier, if you look at current financial year, um, the first quarter and second quarter, industry has not done very well at all. The first quarter minus 70%, second quarter minus 30%. In the third quarter, we have seen good amount of order booking, and production also has changed. I would say compared to the first and second quarter, the dramatic improvement. So if you look at this quarter, we are in the fourth quarter of last year. I think we are doing very, very well. Okay, so by end of the year, I would say that I think quarter to quarter, we are certainly catching up the previous, the pre-COVID, level, or maybe in select companies we are perhaps exceeding as well. Okay, so we need to wait for the March results to come. I think compared to 1920, I think 2021 on the whole, we may be very close to the pre-COVID levels, perhaps 90%. If the same trend continues, we may be even catching up with almost 100%. So I'm very hopeful on that one. So the next year, 21, 22, in my view, can take us one level higher, and perhaps we may go close to the previous best what we have seen in 2018-19.
Okay. So are you seeing a demand for more automated machine tools in India now, given the fact that there has been an issue with respect to availability of labor and other productivity related issues, especially during the COVID period? Has that led to consumer demanding more automation within the machine tools products?
Certainly, yes. I think the COVID has taught us to look at technology from very many angles. That's for sure. Not only for machine tool, but almost for all segments. But generally speaking, I think you would see Industry 4.0 in general playing a very, very important role in manufacturing, and the machine tool sector would definitely get impacted by that. So almost all key companies in machine tool industry are looking at 4.0 as an important area, automation as an important area. Along with that, you also see emerging trend in 3D printing, as well as additive manufacturing as well. So you see a lot of these technologies sort of converging. Okay, so the manufacturing solution given by the machine tool industry would combine many of these aspects. And particularly, I see more involvement of Industry 4.0. And you will see in manufacturing itself, I think right from processing, the raw materials to process monitoring, and also production processes, and inspection, and any particular shop floor monitoring aspects. All this will get impacted by Industry 4.0, and machine tool industry is getting up to meet those challenges.
So you just touched upon few of the trends that are visible in the industry. You touched upon additive manufacturing. Could you elaborate more on these aspects of trends with respect to new technology that is coming into machine tool industry?
Okay, I think additive manufacturing would come only in select areas. Okay, so where you will have additive manufacturing play it's not a head-on collision. It is complementing, supplementing role. Okay, there are certain areas where you will not be able to produce in very complex parts in quick time using the traditional manufacturing solutions. So additive manufacturing can come in those areas very, very handy. At the same time, additive manufacturing also will have its own limitations. So the manufacturing industry will see a combination of both additive manufacturing and the existing manufacturing capabilities to really meet its own requirements. So I see a good convergence of many of these things, going into the future. And particularly Industry 4.0 will be a holistic, thing, going along with, manufacturing technology to give a complete capability to the manufacturing end users.
So given the prevailing market conditions, how is IMTMA gearing up to host the next edition of IMTEX?
So we took a decision middle of last year to shift IMTEX, though we had enough time. We wanted to really taking the machine tool industries, uh, the demand and the production, level. We took a decision very early to shift IMTEX. Okay, but if you look at the current position, as I was mentioning, industry is doing reasonably well, and I see that this trend will continue, going by the feedback of many of the key machine tool, companies in the country. And today, I would say that companies are gearing up very well. And then they would like to have the show to certainly meet with their customer industries to look at the, the future, immediate future, and they want to meet, their requirements. So I think we are very well placed to have a highly productive, IMTEX. We are scheduling it in the month of June, and by June, I think the machine tool industry should have come back to the pre-COVID level very well. And many of the most important thing is, many of the user sectors would have certainly come back, or exceeded even the pre-COVID level. And if you look at India, India will have one of the highest growth rates, in the year 21, 22, in terms of overall GDP. So we have everything going in our favor. The other main thing that we need to look at is how far the vaccination is going to proceed. And we are one of the, I think, the largest, countries where the vaccination is being done in a tremendous manner. So in the next couple of months, you will see a lot of progress even on the vaccination front as well, which should give a lot of confidence to industry and also society in general. So we have everything going in our favor. The other thing we need to wait for is travel. I think within the country, we don't see much of a restriction now on travel. But the international travel, in my view, will improve based on the scenario that we see on COVID, as well as the improvement that we see on vaccination. So we have, I think at this stage, things going in favor of IMTEX. And we hope to see a very, very fruitful IMTEX in the in the month of June, which will be a tremendous support to all the manufacturing sectors as well as to machine tool industry. We are eagerly waiting for that.
So what will be the are you estimated the number of visitors that will be there at the June 2021 IMTEX?
It would be, it's difficult to say at this stage, but certainly there could be a slight, dip, which is understandable in terms of overseas visitors. From the domestic, manufacturing companies, I don't expect any major dip, okay, because by the time we move to June, I think, our travel conditions would have improved, our, safety, aspects, people would have had better confidence. So I don't expect a major dip in the visitor number. There will be a dip, but we'll have to look at this from the number of companies who would be visiting IMTEX. That, in my view, will not come down. Okay, so from a company, if there are 10 people traveling, perhaps they may decide to travel in a group of 8 or 6 or whatever. But the number of companies would remain, same, and I think that would be a great thing to happen for the machine tool industry and user sector collaboration.
So what will be the highlights of this year's IMTEX? Any theme, anything that has been planned?
So IMTEX primarily, if you look at, it's a great B2B, show. It has got one of the best ecosystems for to have a fruitful B2B, dynamics. If you look at, we have exhibitors coming from all the regions of the country as well as from many parts of the world. So the international participation may again have a slight dip, but visitors would come from more than 25 different key sectors of manufacturing. You will also see a lot of academic and research institutes taking part. You will also see government institutions taking part. You will also see select student communities encouraged. Okay, so that's an ecosystem. I think so everybody has got their own need, their own agenda, and it creates an atmosphere where people can talk about whether it is technology development or new product development or simply meeting the needs of the customer company. It takes care of all these requirements. That will continue. Okay. But what would be a change here is you will have more and more newer products coming in. Okay, you will have more and more products, coming there with greater capability, greater accuracy levels. You will have a lot of products coming in to meet, the needs of some of the emerging sectors. Okay, so these are the new things that will happen. Along with that, you'll also see a lot of solutions from the IoT point of, from the IoT angle, as well as from, automation and robotics and things like that. So usually a combination of new areas of technology combining with traditional manufacturing solutions and making it a holistic, sort of solution base to meet India's, needs for the future.
So finally, any message to the industry to this platform that we'll get to give?
I think the future looks. We've had a great challenge last 1 year. We still continue to have challenge. We will come out of that, soon. And I see, great opportunities coming here. And India will grow at a much faster rate compared to the previous few years, even compared to the pre-COVID period. And we will definitely get to the $5 trillion US dollar mark, by middle of this decade. And the manufacturing will certainly, we can reach 1 trillion. But then actually we will go well beyond that. I think by end of the decade, or maybe between 30 and 31, 32, we can perhaps double the GDP. And in fact, our manufacturing size can be close to 2 trillion. Okay, a 2 trillion manufacturing size at that time is tremendous. And 1 trillion is really big. So India has got, huge opportunities. As part of this, many sectors will grow. And in each one of the sectors, the growth will happen through newer capabilities, by adding depth in those sectors, by creating intellectual property in our country, that way creating, job, and then, prosperity. So I'm very optimistic about the future. People need to remain confident. We need to take actions based on that.
On that very good note, thank you, Mr. Anbu, for taking time out of your busy schedule and sharing your thoughts on the industry with IPF magazine.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mr. Rao. It was wonderful to meet you and talk with you. Thank you so much. All the best.